Hi guys, I'm going to do a very quick video today, which I think you'll find very interesting. It was actually a vision that God gave me about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, in regards to the food industry and how the nature of the food industry is going to change in the future. And at the time when God gave this vision to me, I couldn't quite understand why it would change so dramatically. But since we've gone through this pandemic, I'm definitely starting to get some more insight on what I saw. So I'll just jump right into it. So as I mentioned, a few years back, Jesus started talking to me about, well, every time I'd go to the supermarket, he would say to me, you won't be able to enjoy picking out your fresh fruit and veggie, etc., by hand for a whole lot longer. And I was like, oh, that's not very nice. Okay. I didn't really ask him why. But long story short, a few days later, the Lord gave me an open vision. So, an open vision is very similar to just watching on a TV screen. The only difference is that the Holy Spirit gives his commentary on what it is that you're seeing as you're viewing this. So in this open vision, there was a new food distribution system. Now, he showed me this specifically in regards to Australia. I could see how that will be rolled out globally. I think it will apply globally, but this is what was happening within Australia specifically. But so this new system that was rolled out was heavily regulated by the government. The rules and regulations were so difficult to keep that only the large corporates could keep up with it. All of the smaller ma and pa shops had shut their doors because they could no longer comply with the heavy legislation. And what I saw was that there was a number of large corporate companies that were left that were thriving in this system, which is sadly what seems to happen most of the time when heavy-handed government legislation comes in. So I'll give you a quick rundown of what that looked like. So in order to shop at this I wouldn't call it a retail outlet. It was a little unusual, but in order to buy from this big corporate, you had to have yourself signed up, all of your details, and it was like going for your license or something to that effect, where you had to have all of your documented ID to prove who you were. You actually had to get signed up into their system first. It was not a simple process like it is now, say with a Sam's Club or a Costco. It was a big deal getting signed up. Not impossible, but you had to go through a process. They had to verify your identity, etc. So once you were signed up, there were lots and lots of perks as part of being with this business. You got an app that you could put on your phone, and just so you know, this is before the rollout of the New World Order. So this is not after the New World Order taking over. So, but yeah, so you had this app. Now, I had the pleasure of seeing what was on the app. There were all kinds of wonderful features. It was quite ingenious. I was actually really excited by what I was seeing. You could do like a menu plan for the week. If you wanted to do a low carb, or you wanted to do a diabetic diet for the week, you could put in the parameters of your family. So, you'd put in your height, your weight, do you need to lose weight, all of these wonderful things that you could put into there, and it would instantly calculate the entire family or individual, whoever you put in, a menu of recipes for the family, but also the shopping list, so that by the time you got to the supermarket, you would actually go up to the shopping buggy. You would have your phone out with the app on it. You had to tap a chip that was in the shopping buggy, and you could not shop without the shopping buggy. This was all part of the system. So as you walked in the front door, there were a number of lovely perks that you got. You know, you got things like free coffee and snacks for kids and whatever else, that seemed to make it all that little bit more palatable. Benefits that people enjoyed. And then you had to follow, just like when you go to IKEA, there are arrows on the floor. You had to follow the arrows on the floor around the store. You could not backtrack. So you weren't allowed to go against the flow. So you had to follow it all the way through. And it was remarkable what I saw. It had, I should back up just quickly. So part of signing up was you had to get a set of containers that were uniquely yours and that you had to bring with you in order to do your shopping. Very high quality. Like I was even able to see some of the spin around that that they had, but the idea behind this was that we were reducing pollution to the environment, etc., etc. And it was like a set of 100 Tupperware containers. It was complimentary. So when you walked in, your phone would actually alert you when you were getting to the items that you were near to. So for example, if you had your shopping list already on your phone, you know, you'd put in your keto meal plan for the 5 people in your family for the week, then when you got near to, I don't know, carrots, it would go ding ding and let you know that you had to pick something up on the way. So it was quite a unique shopping experience. And they had these massive vats, but they were electronic vats that actually interacted with the app on your phone. So for example, you know, if you wanted like 100 grams of flour, so for example, you'd come up to the vat with the flour in it. You would, if you already had your pre-prepped menu list, then it would automatically talk to the flour vat, and you'd get your container out and it'll plop the flour in, and off you go on your way. So everything was electronic, and the benefit to it also, you know, it wasn't an all bad thing, because it was actually helping to reduce waste as well. But there's a but to this. This is where the government's heavy-handed totalitarian Big Brother style government came in, is that it could there were inklings of exploitation within the system from the government, because, you know, they were saying basically we're trying to reduce the waste factor because so much food gets thrown away. But in actual fact, it was just a control tactic that they were using. But this would all be part of the new shopping centre, grocery shopping experience. So the trolley also weighed all the food that you put into it. So there was actually no checkout. Everything that went in, every time you pushed a button on a vat, it would communicate back to your phone app. Everything would tally up as you were going. There was no having to stop and do things. Like it was just a streamlined shopping experience from the time you walked in the door to when you walked out the door. And as I said, no checkout, no nothing. You literally walked out the door. The trolley and the app on your phone would talk to each other. They'd know that you had physically walked out of the store, and you instantly, had your account debited or whatever the case was. So you didn't have to do anything. Now, at the time, I couldn't understand why they would be trying to push people in going just one direction. Right now, we somewhat meander through the shopping centre, the retail stores, etc., and we do that at the groceries. So I couldn't understand what would trigger or cause them to try and get people to do that. But only just this week, my husband was saying that when he went to a Hannaford store, that they had arrows on the floor and telling people which direction to go, which is quite shocking. It is really shocking. I was like, that sounds very, very familiar to me. So this was one side of the business model. Now the other side was this was a pick up and go system. So you still had your app. Now when you were doing your meal planning for the week, you could either do it as an in-store pickup yourself, or you could do it as an automatic pick up your groceries through the drive-through on the way out. And what you would do is you would drive into their drive-through system. A camera would pick up the number plate on the car. You drive around the back, and you would drive onto a really large weigh station. Everything was verified through weight with this system. So you drive onto the weigh station just like you do when you go to the dump, or the tip as they call it in Australia, and you were not under any circumstances allowed out of your car. And everything was being done in an effort, and this was part of the legislation, that the general public was no longer allowed to handle food. So there was no packaging. Like next to there weren't the boxes, there weren't the jars, there weren't all of those sort of things. There were very, very few items that were pre-packaged. So when you pulled into this weigh station, automatically the inside of the grocery packing area, the Lord took me into that. I actually could see the whole thing, and it was very similar looking to footage that I've seen on Amazon. So when you hit the button on your app, your order got sent off. Robots were actually responsible for some of it, and I'm not really sure how that works, but they were, but like little square looking 4-wheel robot things that were picking up from various areas. And when the order was completed, a worker there would they actually had a handful of workers there, they would hook the order up in this plastic crate, and it was a massive pulley system that went up to the roof, and it went into a storage area. So the moment that the technology picked up your number plate, it would automatically dispatch your order from the waiting bay area, and it would be moved to the front of the store. So I'm just telling you the very, very high level view that God gave me of that. And there were staff that had to do certain things to add to it. I'm guessing refrigerated, frozen, that sort of thing. But when it came to the stuff being emptied out of the plastic crates into the car, again, there was such high security. Security is the word. The person just had to pop their trunk or their boot, and the groceries just went straight into the back of the car, and that was it. You were not allowed out of that car, which is quite interesting. So anyway, so I thought you'd find that interesting, because I can certainly see us heading towards that kind of scenario in the very near future, especially given everything that's been going on with the pandemic. It is going to be a whole new world of shopping experience when it comes to our food. Some of it better, some of it a little bit over the top Big Brother, but nonetheless very, very interesting. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that little insight, something to watch for Either way, we know that God's got a plan for us, and He always looks after His people. Bless you guys. Bye.